But you know and I know that you are only half the man that I am. And I have half the brain that you do.
Hello everybody and welcome to the very first edition of the Two Broke Jobless Guys Who Are Frustrated with Wrestling podcast, or the TBJGWAFWW podcast for short. I am Dave Rediger, sitting along with
Dr. Nick Jones.
I've actually titled Nick as a Trekkie of wrestling, as a walking encyclopedia of professional wrestling, and I am more temper-based, I guess. I will shut off the TV out of rage and not watch for years, which I have done. So there's a lot of things he'll probably mention on the podcast that I don't know of. And but we're going to mainly focus on the prestigious history of wrestling. It's going to be a celebration podcast. Although it's called the Frustrated with Wrestling podcast, we're going to talk about what we love about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know, I like to share some of my wondrous amount of knowledge with the world.
And you actually came up with the first topic that we were going to talk about.
There's a lot of sensitive subjects, you know, in the professional wrestling business, and, you know, one of the top subjects is the deaths in wrestling, you know, this spoken curse of everybody dies before the age of 35, and, you know, especially in my eyes, you know, when you see these guys when you're a kid, you think, you know, they're impermeable, they're immortal, these guys are my heroes, nothing can take them down. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, as you grow up, these heroes, you know, from either car accidents, medical problems, you know, due to the rigorous profession. I mean, you're on the road 300-something days of the year.
That's, I guess, a sensitive subject because a lot of people think the product is what it is now because of other reasons. Linda McMahon or just people. WWE, I think, they think that the Attitude Era is dead. But just because they say the Attitude Era is dead doesn't mean it is, because there's still a lot of people that want that era back. But the deaths of all these people, I think, are a factor why we don't have such things anymore.
That is definitely a stigma that has happened to the business. You know, they've, you know, completely almost erased Chris Benoit from history. You know, they associated it with steroids, which has always been a stigma, correct. And basically what they have done is, you know, any form of, you know, we can't show this guy anymore because, you know, it's too sensitive. We can't show his matches. We can't talk about him. Mm-hmm. You know, granted, whatever happened to this day, we don't know what happened on that night or, you know, the circumstances surrounding the death of his family. But eventually, WWE is going to have to separate themselves from, you know, yes, we are a corporation. We have people to answer to in our stocks and our, you know, global, you know, company. But eventually, if you don't turn it around and start catering to people that buy your t-shirts and buy your DVDs and rent your pay-per-views, you're going to lose a big chunk of your audience.
We're going to have to take a break here. We're going to throw some trivia at you, but we will be back with more of the Two Broke Jobless Guys Who Are Frustrated with Wrestling podcast.
Everyone else was doing it. I didn't think it would hurt to try. I never thought I'd become addicted to Monday Night Jericho. I never imagined that I, like millions of others, would become a Jerichoholic.
Turn off the light! I'm filming a commercial! You're ruining everything! Stop the camera!
Get your Jerichoholics Anonymous t-shirt for only $20. Call 1-800-WCW-8661 or write to the address on your screen.
I'm filming a commercial here! Stop it!
You gotta love the new WWF ring. Watch the Macho King fly off the ropes with his elbow smash into that chump Brutus Beefcake.
No way! I'll be strutting and cutting, and the Macho King will be sleeping, yeah.
The WWF ring won't break even when a team goes after Smash. I'll demolish him! Rick Rude's rude awakening will stop Jake and that snake.
Nobody gets up when Damien and I are finished.
WWF ring comes with flag and championship belt.
Now that we have the WWE Network, I normally don't watch anything past 2004, mid-2005,
I don't
because
think anybody does.
it's so boring, demoralizing. It actually makes me just, so bored that I almost hate wrestling.
I do think WWE is afraid to go back to that era because they don't want to be ganged up on by media. Because they know that was the hottest period in wrestling. They know from merchandise sales. They know from fan attendance. Because the only way, their last biggest selling DVD was the Attitude Era DVD. And their last game before 2014, the only reason why anybody bought that crap was because it was the Attitude Era mode.
Oh, yeah.
They know.
I mean, granted, it was basically a prototype
Yeah.
of the previous game.
But now they're all because they got the rights back to the WWF Scratch logo. They're releasing all these WWF volumes. They got the network now. They know that was a hot period, but they're too scared to go back to it. So they're just like, here, have a collection of what it used to be.
Well, going back to what you said about the fear, they don't have to go to that extreme of profanity every week and nudity. But use storylines for people that are intelligent. People are not 100% stupid. You give them a reality-based storyline, they're going to relate to it. I mean, in all actuality, professional wrestling, and in the words of, my wife, professional wrestling is a soap opera for the male demographic.
Yeah.
When you watch a soap opera or a TV show, an episodic TV show, you want something that's going to hook you every week to tune you in to go, man, I got to find out what happens to this guy.
Yep.
Now it's, next week they're going to tell us everything on the pre-show that's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. They might as well release, an entire blog about, okay, for the next year, this is what's going to happen in wrestling. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not even a surprise anymore.
And I don't watch Raw these days, or SmackDown, or WWE, or TNA, because I'm not 8 years old.
In order for wrestling to recoup and get back the fans that made them who they are, that's what they forget.
They need to stop looking like a Nick Jr. show.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sorry, but John Cena looks like a jackass.
Yes, he does.
I turned on Raw for the very first time about 3 years last week and saw John Cena decked out in green everything. Green hat, green wristbands.
Believe it or not, if you put it under a black light, it glows in the dark.
Wow.
Yeah,
He's like a 6-year-old's bedroom.
Yes.
And he even wears armbands on his freaking biceps where they can't stretch anymore. And he looks like an idiot.
Yeah, I originally thought armbands were used to, keep sweat off of you, but apparently it's a fashion accessory.
Well, I even messaged you during Raw, and I told you, watching Raw for the first time in forever, I feel like an 8-year-old. And because the entranceway looks like I'm watching the Grammys, and everyone on the roster looks like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Their gear looks stupid. The ropes look too nice. I hate this HD era where everything has to be pretty. Wrestling's not pretty.
No, it never was supposed to be. I mean, the era for me, which was just fantastic, every time they do a throwback episode of Raw, look at the attendance. Look at the numbers. That says right there,
Yep.
Bring back the old Titantron.
Yep.
Bring back the steel girders.
Yep.
Bring back the red ropes. Bring back the guys that people tuned in to see. Mm-hmm. Don't bring these guys out here that are, supposed to be this mean monster machine and make them dance like it's Saturday Night Fever.
And I don't like the people that go, well, if you don't like this stuff, don't watch WWE. Watch something else. Well, once upon a time, WWE was exactly what I'm wanting it to be right now. That's the only reason I'm complaining about it. It's not that I'm making up like, WWE, I wish you were more edgier. No, I wish you were still edgier.
Yeah.
I hate when people go, just watch a different product. First of all, there's no other product to watch, because TNA is a joke.
Oh, absolutely.
And the only independent wrestling I watch right now is Extreme Rising, but they're iffy. So, WWE is the only thing we can hold on to and hope they go back.
The culture is there. I mean, you still have punk music. You still have the biker demographic. People still love to get tattoos, piercings, ride motorcycles. They still smoke cigarettes, drink beer.
Yep.
That's never going to change.
And
I think what happened was people forgot how to have fun.
I think so too, because like you just said that, people love to drink beer, they still love to smoke cigarettes, even though cigarettes are taboo on TV. And you look even at the pot culture. Back when RVD was doing RVD 420, it was like a hush-hush thing. It was like you had to be in that in crowd. It was a taboo. Nowadays, pot is being legalized like all over the country.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
becoming huge.
They have a magazine for it.
Back in WWF, you told me yesterday, Godfather, his vest, it would say 419. Anybody got a minute? You know? It was there. That was the culture. And that, in the 90s, it was push the limits as far as you can. But still, back in the late 90s, there was a lot of censors that you could not do the things that they were trying to do. Nowadays, censors, I mean, you turn on cable television at 9 o'clock at night, you can hear shit, and it's not bleeped.
Oh, yeah. You could see commercials for things that you would never see during the daytime.
Absolutely. The culture is there. It's WWE that thinks that nobody wants to watch that crap anymore, but everybody does. It's not dead. Not to the fans, but to the people supplying it, it is.
The next generation of wrestling fans will never get to know how awesome it was to be a fan during that time, besides watching archived footage.
And their wrestling is it's a rare fandom, because we're pretty much the only fan base that can't dictate what the product is. Other fans can protest, and they'll change the product to what the fans want to see. It's not up to wrestling fans. Wrestling fans have always been just take what is given to them. Because I've always said the Attitude Era was never for the fans. The Attitude Era was simply Vince McMahon saying, well, there's nothing wrong with my product, but I'm getting my ass kicked by WCW, so I'm going to push the limits. He kicked their ass. He ate them whole. Then give a couple years, and he went right back to the product that he had in 1996.
Yeah, it
was a marketing strategy.
It's one of those things where you got to look at it as... Now, unfortunately, nowadays they use the term best for business. I truly don't think they believe in their own mind that it's best for business. Because these were the same people that watched the product back then too.
Yep.
They were a part of it. They knew what worked. So for them to act like they're stupid and go, oh, that'll never work, people don't want to watch that, I don't see why not. It worked then.
Yep. It's
a established method. I guess my way of thinking it is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to change something when it's working perfectly fine. Yep. It's okay to move with the times, but not destroy the entire product.
No. Okay, well, we're going to close this up before my wife comes home and yells at us for talking about wrestling. Okay, see you guys later.
The hardest working man in wrestling. How you practice 12 hours a day. How you diet and go to the school. Paige, that's not how you became a superstar. How you became one is you moved next door.
What's this about? What is going on here?